There is something remarkable about a rainbow. It never appears because the sky remains clear. It arrives because light and rain meet at the same horizon. Perhaps that is why it feels so quietly hopeful. Not because it promises that storms will never return, but because it reminds us that beauty is often born from what seemed uncertain only moments before. The fields stretch peacefully beneath the open sky. The wind moves gently through the tall grass. Clouds continue drifting overhead, carrying both shadow and light across the landscape. Nothing stays exactly the same, and yet everything belongs together. The rainbow does not separate the storm from the sunlight, it connects them. Perhaps life has always been doing the same. We often divide our days into good and bad, easy and difficult, bright and dark, yet nature rarely makes those distinctions. Rain feeds the same earth that sunlight warms. Clouds make the colors of the evening richer. Even storms leave behind quieter skies. Standing before this wide horizon, it becomes easier to understand that nothing exists alone. Every season quietly prepares the next. The rainbow asks for no attention. It appears without announcement. It does not wonder whether anyone is watching. It simply becomes visible for a little while before disappearing again. Its beauty has never depended on how long it remains. Perhaps many of life's most meaningful moments are like that. A conversation that changes something inside us. A quiet morning, a shared silence, a smile from someone we may never meet again. They arrive gently, they leave gently. Yet something within us is never quite the same afterward. The clouds continue moving across the sky. Some remain heavy, others begin slowly dissolving into blue. The light shifts almost invisibly. No single moment announces that the weather has changed. It simply changes. How often does our own life unfold that way? We wait for dramatic turning points, for obvious beginnings, for unmistakable endings. Yet most transformation happens quietly. One thought becomes another. One ordinary day slowly becomes the beginning of a different chapter, without fanfare, without certainty, only with time. The fields beneath the rainbow continue growing exactly as they always have. They do not hurry toward the harvest. They do not compare themselves with neighboring fields. Each blade of grass simply reaches toward the light whenever it appears. There is something deeply peaceful about that. Growth without comparison, movement without impatience. The rainbow reminds us that some things cannot be forced. No one creates it by pulling colors into the sky. It appears only when the conditions quietly come together. Perhaps peace arrives in much the same way, not through effort alone, not through endless searching. Sometimes it appears when we stop insisting that life look different than it does right now. The wind continues passing through the fields. The clouds continue drifting beyond the horizon. The colors remain suspended above the earth for only a little while longer. Soon they will fade. The sky will become something new. Nothing has been lost. The rainbow was never meant to stay forever. Its purpose was never permanence, only presence, only this moment. Perhaps we carry too much fear about things ending. A beautiful day, a season of life, a feeling we hoped would last forever. Nature quietly reminds us that endings do not erase beauty. They simply allow beauty to appear in another form. The rainbow does not disappear because it has failed. It disappears because the sky continues unfolding. Everything here trusts the next moment without knowing exactly what it will bring. The fields remain open. The clouds remain free. The light continues changing. And somewhere beneath that vast sky, another gentle understanding begins to emerge, not as certainty, not as a promise, only as a quiet feeling that perhaps hope has never been the absence of storms. Perhaps hope is simply the willingness to notice the colors that appear after the rain. The rainbow still stretches across the sky. Its colors remain soft, almost transparent, as though they belong somewhere between earth and cloud. It asks for nothing. It does not try to hold the attention of those who pass beneath it. It simply appears, quietly, patiently. Then when its moment has passed, it quietly disappears again. Perhaps there is freedom in that. So much of life becomes exhausting because we try to hold on to every beautiful moment. We wish joyful days would last forever. We hope certain people will never leave. We imagine peace as something permanent. Yet nature seems to understand another rhythm. Everything arrives. Everything leaves. Nothing is diminished because it was temporary. The clouds continue drifting across the open sky. Some become darker, others slowly dissolve into light. Neither one remains for long. Still, together they create the conditions for something extraordinary. Perhaps our own lives are no different. The difficult days and the gentle ones rarely exist apart from each other. One gives meaning to the other. Without rain, the rainbow would never appear. Without shadow, sunlight would never seem quite so warm. The fields beneath the sky move gently with the wind. Thousands of blades of grass bend together. No single one controls the movement. No single one resists. Together they respond. Then together they become still again. There is quiet wisdom in that. The world often celebrates control. Nature quietly celebrates harmony. The breeze does not command the field. The field does not argue with the breeze. Both simply belong to the same moment. How different life might feel if we spent less energy resisting every unexpected change. Not because change is always easy, but because resistance often becomes heavier than the change itself. The rainbow slowly begins to fade, not all at once. One color softens before another. The edges become less certain. The sky gently reclaims its openness. Nothing feels lost. The beauty simply changes form. Perhaps this happens within us more often than we realize. A fear quietly loses its power. A memory becomes gentler. A hope we once carried transforms into something calmer. These changes rarely announce themselves. One day we simply notice that what once felt impossible now feels lighter. The horizon stretches endlessly beyond the fields. No walls interrupt the distance. Only open land beneath an open sky. There is something comforting about such space. It reminds us that our lives are often much larger than the problems filling today's thoughts. The mind naturally narrows its focus. It studies every worry, every uncertainty, every unanswered question. The horizon quietly widens it again. It reminds us that no single cloud occupies the whole sky. The sunlight grows stronger for a moment. The fields brighten. The rain clouds retreat farther into the distance. Yet no one can say exactly when the weather changed. The transformation happened gradually, almost invisibly. Perhaps healing follows the same path, not through one perfect day, but through many ordinary moments quietly placed beside one another. A little more trust, a little less fear, a little more kindness toward ourselves than yesterday. The rainbow has become fainter now. Soon it will no longer be visible. Yet somehow its presence remains, not in the sky, but in the quiet feeling it leaves behind. Perhaps that is how beauty continues, not by remaining before our eyes, but by becoming part of the way we see the world afterward. The wind continues, the clouds continue, the fields continue growing beneath the changing sky. Nothing asks for permanence. Everything belongs to the rhythm of becoming. And somewhere within that gentle rhythm, another quiet understanding begins to appear. Maybe hope has never meant believing that storms will never return. Maybe hope is simply trusting that whenever rain and light meet again, the colors will always find their way back into the sky. The rainbow has almost disappeared now. Its colors are no longer bright enough to capture the eye immediately. They linger quietly against the clouds. The rainbow has almost disappeared with every passing moment. Its colors are no longer bright enough to capture the eye immediately. The fields do not ask it to remain. They linger quietly against the clouds. Everything seems to understand that beauty has never depended upon staying. The sky does not mourn its fading. Perhaps we are the only ones who do not ask it to remain. We hold tightly to certain seasons of life. That beauty has never depended upon certain versions of ourselves. Perhaps we are the only ones who will remain unchanged. We hold tightly to certain seasons of life with the same certain places as the clouds certain versions of ourselves. Nothing stands still remain unchanged, and somehow yet that life movement is what allows with the world to remain rhythm as the clouds the breeze passes gently through the grass. Nothing stands still for long. The fields sway together beneath the open sky. Is what allows the world to remain alive. No single blade knows where the wind breeze passes gently through the grass once more. It simply responds. The fields sway together beneath the open sky. About such trust. No single blade knows where the wind begins, not needing where it will end. Only meeting each moment as it arrives. There is something the clouds continue changing their shape, not knowing one every direction, heavy with rain, not needing to. The next, they begin only opening to reveal quiet as it arrives. Blue. The clouds continue changing their sky lasts forever. One moment they seem heavy with rain clouds that the next they begin opening to reveal quiet the reason its light feels so radiant. Neither version of the sky, many of the things we call obstacles, the same are clouds that once covered the sunlight slowly become the reason its light feels so radiant. There are days when life perhaps many of the things we call obstacles are quietly preparing us to notice something we would have otherwise when uncertainty settles like there are days when life feels clear. We often the path ahead seems simple. The heart nature suggests another possibility. Then there are days when uncertainty settles like thick clouds overhead. Perhaps they are simply another expression of the same sky. The rainbow suggests another possibility, but the horizon remains perhaps wide. Clouds are not interruptions. The fields remain open. Perhaps the wind remains another free. Expression of the same Nothing sky. Essential has disappeared. The rainbow may be fading. Only one beautiful horizon has gently made room for another. The fields remain open. How often do we overlook what remains because nothing essential has disappeared? A season only ends. One beautiful moment a chapter has closes. Gently made room for another. A familiar routine how quietly often changes. Do we overlook what our attention follows because we are watching what is left. Meanwhile, countless quiet ends. Gifts continue a chapter arriving. Closes. A slower a morning, familiar routine a deeper quietly changes. A our attention follows what is missing. Before. Meanwhile, countless quiet gifts continue across the landscape. A slower morning. The colors of the fields seem richer than before. A softer heart than not carried because before. They have changed. The sunlight because our attention has become quieter. The landscape. Perhaps the colors of the fields seem richer than before for us to slow down enough to notice have changed. Because our attention has become quieter. Now the field's quiet beauty has always been waiting patiently for us everywhere to slow there is life continuing. It. The grass the rainbow keeps growing us to look upward. The clouds keep drifting. Now the fields quietly the earth keeps receiving both rain and sunlight. Everywhere there is life continuing. Everything belongs. The grass keeps growing. Nothing is rejected. The clouds keep drifting. There is remarkable kindness. The earth keeps receiving the world never asks the sky to choose between storms and light. Everything belongs. It welcomes both. Nothing is rejected. Perhaps we can learn there is to remarkable kindness in the same way. The world never asks the sky to choose between the storms and light. It welcomes both. the quieter
Perhaps we can
evenings.
learn to welcome
Each
more of
has shaped
ourselves
the
in the same
person
way.
standing here now.
The confident
Each
days,
has left
the
something worth
uncertain
keeping.
ones,
The
the hopeful
horizon
mornings,
stretches
the
beyond what the
quieter
eye can
evenings.
see. Each has
Somewhere
shaped the
beyond it,
person
new
standing here
weather is
now.
already forming.
Each has left
New
something
rain,
worth keeping.
new sunlight.
The horizon
Perhaps
stretches
another
beyond what
rainbow
the eye
waiting
can
for
see.
another ordinary day.
Somewhere beyond it,
Life has
new
always
weather is already
continued
forming.
beyond the limits
New
of what
rain,
we can currently
new
see.
sunlight.
The clouds
Perhaps another
continue
rainbow
their
waiting
endless
for
journey.
another ordinary day.
The fields continue
Life has
resting
always
beneath them.
continued beyond the limits
The wind
of what we can
continues
currently
carrying its
see.
quiet song
The
across
clouds
open
continue
land.
their endless
And
journey.
somewhere within
The
that
fields
peaceful
continue
rhythm,
resting beneath
another
them.
gentle realization
The wind
begins
continues
to settle.
carrying its quiet
Not
song
every
across the
beautiful
open
thing
land.
is meant to remain
And
before
somewhere
our
within
eyes.
that peaceful rhythm,
Some are meant to remain
another
within
gentle
us,
realization
quietly
begins to
changing
settle.
the way we meet every
Not
sky
every
that
beautiful
follows.
thing is meant to remain before our eyes. Some are meant to remain within us, quietly changing the way we meet every sky that follows. The rainbow has disappeared now. Only the wide sky remains. The clouds continue their slow journey across the horizon. The fields stretch peacefully beneath them, unchanged by what has come and gone. Nothing feels empty. If anything, the landscape feels even quieter now. The rainbow was never the whole story. It was simply one beautiful moment within a much larger sky. Perhaps life has always been like that. We often wait for extraordinary moments, the perfect opportunity, the unforgettable day, the answer that changes everything. Yet most of our lives are not lived inside extraordinary moments. They are lived in quiet mornings, gentle evenings, ordinary afternoons where nothing remarkable seems to happen, and still those ordinary moments slowly become the life we remember. The wind continues moving through the fields. Each blade of grass bends, then rises again. Nothing holds on to the breeze after it has passed. Nothing wishes it had blown a little longer. There is no disappointment, only movement, only the quiet rhythm of receiving and releasing. How much lighter might we become if we trusted that rhythm a little more? Not clinging so tightly to what is leaving, not fearing what has not yet arrived, simply allowing each season to complete itself. The clouds drift farther toward the horizon. The sunlight spreads across the fields once again. The storm has not disappeared forever. It has simply continued its journey elsewhere. Nature never mistakes movement for failure. Rain leaves, sunlight leaves, even the rainbow leaves. Yet the sky remains. Perhaps there is something within us that resembles the sky more than the weather. Thoughts appear, thoughts disappear, joy arrives, sadness follows, hope grows, fear quietly returns. Still, beneath all of it, there remains a quiet awareness that continues watching each season pass. Like the open sky above these fields, it has always been there. Patient, unhurried, unchanged by every passing cloud. The horizon feels endless now. There is nothing to interrupt the distance, only open land reaching toward open sky. It becomes easier to breathe here, not because the world has become simpler, because nothing asks to be hurried. The fields are not rushing toward tomorrow. The clouds are not racing toward another country. Even the light moves with remarkable patience. Perhaps we have always belonged to that slower rhythm, not the rhythm of deadlines, not the rhythm of constant achievement, but the rhythm of seasons, growing, resting, changing, beginning again. The rainbow has already become a memory, yet somehow it still feels present, not because it remains in the sky, because it quietly changed the way this landscape is now being seen. Perhaps every beautiful experience leaves something behind. Not an object, not a possession, a gentler way of looking, a quieter way of listening, a softer way of meeting the ordinary moments that follow. The clouds continue opening, blue sky quietly expands, the fields glow beneath the afternoon light. Everything seems exactly where it belongs. Nothing is missing, nothing is arriving too late. Only this moment, only this breath, only this wide horizon inviting us to notice how much peace has always existed within simple things. The wind continues, the fields continue, the sky continues, life continues, and perhaps that is enough. Not because every question has found an answer, not because every storm has ended forever, but because somewhere beneath every changing season, every passing cloud, and every fading rainbow, there has always been something quietly constant, a place within us that knows how to remain open, a place that welcomes both rain and sunlight, a place that understands hope is not found at the end of the storm. Hope is found in the quiet certainty that after every rain, the sky will always find another way to hold the light.